Hey guys, Green837 here again, and welcome to part 5. We've talked about the Red Pouch, the expanded survival slash 10 essentials pack. So let's talk about some other stuff. Let's talk about what else I put on that belt. We've mentioned that I've got the canteen. Let's just, my zoom out function's terrible on this. It's a point and shoot, so yeah. Well, let's move some of this stuff out of the way. Alright. Well, what else do I keep on there? Well, I've mentioned the knife. Sometimes I'll have my USGI machete, which I have done a little minor modifications. Lanyard, I always, in fact, never use a machete that doesn't have a lanyard, and always use the lanyard. Unless you feel like giving somebody else a lobotomy or injuring somebody, yeah, these things can fly out of your hands. Especially when it's wet, the wood and the handle of your machete is wet. This is actually a little grip modification. Picked it up at Walmart. I actually got the idea from Alpha Rubicon, I believe. You know, just racquetball grip tape, duct taped on there. Provides a very great grip. I got a little spare duct tape on there, and quite a bit of paracord, you know. I don't like to carry rope in my pack. I'm going to be honest. It's just not a good place for it to me. There's quite a bit of rope on here. Paracord. Okay, so I talked about that. And one more thing. If you'll bear with me for a second, I have to grab it. My rather large first aid kit. I'm just gonna open it up real quick, and I'll go into the contents in a different video. Simply because there's just so much in here. It is not time is the issue. There's just not time. In this video, I've got other stuff I want to mention. As you can see, it's pretty comprehensive, but it's actually a pretty basic first aid kit. My first aid training doesn't really extend that far. I cannot suture, but I can stop bleeding. So, you know, I've been trained to CPR. Some basic first aid, actually more than basic first aid. Which is probably one thing some people don't mention. They mention, you know a little bit about first aid. Have a first aid card. Take a first aid course, or take an EMT course. And I tell you, taking an EMT course, I've never done it personally. I know people who have. They've loved it, and not only that, they just they said it can come in a lot of handy. You know, basic level EMT course. I don't have the money right now to enroll in one. But I will be soon, as soon as I have the funds and everything else. This is another light I carry sometimes. It's the downside. The thing is this was developed recently. It's a Streamlight Sidewinder, and it's got 4 different modes of light, and it's got actually 3 levels of brightness. Don't know how well you can see it, but it's also got a strobe feature. And this clip can be mounted on other sides, but it's not Alice compatible. I personally love Alice more than I do the Molly system. Molly, whatever, however you pronounce it. I'm not in the military, so. But yeah, it's a very good little light. Double A. I like it. I actually prefer the double A lights for camping. They're usually pretty good. I mean, you don't need a 3-cell D mag light. I keep one in my vehicle, yeah, but not in my pack. It's just too dang heavy. Another thing I carry either in that red pouch or on or if I have the suspenders on, I might mount this somewhere on the suspenders. It's a Gerber suspension multi-tool. These things are invaluable. I mean, a lot of people say don't trust Gerber. I'm not going to get into a internet war with somebody over what's better, Gerber or Leatherman or whatever. I just like Gerber. To me, it's the most cost-effective thing to buy. And when I say that, it's cost and reliability. The ratio is much better than the Leatherman. I mean, these things are just as good as the Leatherman. It's just a little cheaper. And some say, cheaper means it's worse. No. $2 versus, you can get a $12 whetstone, the cheapest $12 whetstone. This is quicker. Maybe not as fine. If you take your time on a whetstone, you'll get a much better edge. True. But if you need a quick edge that's actually pretty sharp, I mean, this will get my knife more than sharp enough to shave hairs. And I've done it. It's just a good little multi-tool. Spring loaded, my favorite. That's another. I mean, you don't have to go, and then, one-handed operation is a good thing. If you've ever been out in the cold, then your fingers, your toes, your fingers, your ears, the first thing to start losing feeling. And if you've ever tried to clench your fist or do that, that's the one of the frostbite tests. If you can't touch that, you're becoming frostbitten. It makes it very hard to work with your hands. Or if you have a heavy glove on, can you go like that, or can you use the thumb stud? Well, that solves your problem. One-handed opening. And actually, they're trying to ban these as switchblades, and I think that's wrong. I think these are just perfectly fine. And actually, if you carry these, you ought to start writing congressmen. Keep these in availability. It's completely draconian to get. Really, anybody that spends any time in the outdoors, they're probably not going to use their main everyday carry knife to hurt somebody. I mean, the most thing is just opening packages. But I'm not here for a political rant. That's not what I do. So, some other things I might mount on there. I got another knife. My little Columbia River. This is the, I can't even remember. Triumph neck knife, that's what it's called. Actually, I have it in Merc harness. And before you say it, no, I'm not one of those tactical nylon ninjas. I just liked this knife. I wanted a good, straight edge. Just because there are some situations where you want that straight edge. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't think of one right this second. But whittling. Okay, there we go. Whittling. You don't want to use a serrated edge for whittling. Yeah, I mean, it was a little expensive, but it was a nice little knife. I just collect them. I added it to my collection. So, I guess I got one more thing to show for this video until I start moving into the main part of the pack. I'll sometimes, just depending on all that I'm carrying, this can be attached, rubber banded on or Ranger banded on, whatever you want to call it, somewhere. It's a little Gerber. Like I said, I love Gerber. They are, to me, the most cost effective tools. They're very reasonably priced, and they function like they're supposed to. I've never had a problem with my Gerbers. I mean, with the exception of a sheath. Well, that's a sheath, and it didn't even break. It had a minor crack, and I just didn't want to worry about it one day later. And they replaced it for free, and in less than a week, from Portland, Oregon to someplace in Georgia. I mean, this is a nice little folding saw. I've used it several times. It works. Blade's a little thin. I mean, for $10, yeah, you're not gonna really do any better. It's got lashing points on there. Like, and this is kind of a slower vid, just to finish up what's in the kit. Yeah, it's a long one, 10 minutes, but thanks for watching, and stay tuned for part 6 or a new video series. Thank you.